like the very first question, I didn't know how to do. I was like, what the heck is this? I was like, I never even seen this. What is this? So I got a little nervous, but I remembered what you guys told me, just
Yeah.
skip, skip and move on, go to the next one. And I did that, and it kind of calmed me down doing all the easy ones first. After you graduate, the last thing you want to do is study more. So I opened it and I had my eyes half open. I saw the green pass. I was like, oh my gosh, no way. When I failed the test, I was kind of a little let down on myself. So
Mm.
I was just scared to fail again. If you take it one day at a time, it works out.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Genie Interview Series, where I interview Genie Prep students who've recently passed the FE exam. Today, I'm excited for you to meet Bryan, a 2019 graduate, and just like many of you, his journey to passing the FE exam was difficult. Even though seeing many of his classmates passing the FE exam left him a bit discouraged, he instead buckled down, studied hard, took a bunch of practice exams, and built up his confidence. Now, his hard work definitely paid off, and he passed his FE exam on his second attempt. So, if you're a recent graduate and you're feeling stuck with your FE preparation, then definitely keep watching, because Bryan shows how staying focused, practicing, and believing in yourself can really help you accomplish your goals. Bryan, can you tell us a little bit about UFE and how many times did you take it?
So I took the FE one time and I didn't pass. And then I took it the second time after taking your course and I passed. So
Okay.
yeah,
So can you tell us when was the first time that you took it? When did you graduate? And then when did you take the FE the first time? And then when did you take it the second time?
so I graduated in 2019 at the end of the year around December. And then I had my FE scheduled for the first quarter of 2020, but that's when COVID happened.
Mhm.
So my test got canceled 3 times throughout 2020. So I kind of put it off that whole year. And then I had it scheduled for 2021, the first quarter of 2021. And that's when I took it the first time. And that time I only used the NCES practice test to study. And when I took the test, I was like, man, all these questions are not what I went over. And so I ended up not passing. And then I felt a little discouraged, so I kind of put it off for a while. Um, and then I found your course, and then I started studying with your course, and I passed in this year of in March. So
Okay. Do you remember when you enrolled in our course?
I enrolled in your course in the beginning of 2022.
Okay.
And I started it in January 2022, and I kind of started and then stopped because I was getting a little overwhelmed. But then in October of 2022 is when I started to really consistently study every day and stay on track up until March of this year. So
Okay. So you took the FE exam the first time 2021, you didn't pass, and then it took you about almost a year and a half to seriously start studying for it, and then you took it in
yeah.
2023. Can you tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about that, and why did it take you so long to get back to it and then start studying again?
I think after I failed, I kind of was a little sad, and I was working at the time too, so I was just kind of juggling life. And after college, after you graduate, the last thing you want to do is study more. So, and I had already taken a break off from school because of COVID. I wasn't taking the test, so it kind of maybe got me off my study habits a little bit. So, and then just work and stuff, and pretty much my procrastinating at the end of the day. So yeah, and I think a lot of your videos, because I followed you on Instagram, a lot of your videos, and I saw all the other videos of students that passed, and I was like, man, I think I can do this. I can do this. So man, I need to start studying and get it done. So
Yeah, so like when you see somebody else doing it and succeeding, even though their background might be different than your
mhm,
background, that's always motivating. And then, part of you
right.
goes like, if they did it, so can I, right? I graduated as well as a civil engineer. There's nothing, that's different. Um, was it like, was it part of you where you were afraid to fail again?
Yeah, that was probably another big thing that I was kind of scared to fail again, and I have to tell my dad or my parents like, hey, yeah, I took it again and I didn't pass. So that was kind of a big fear when I took it again. I wanted to make sure that I felt confident that I was going to pass. So because in school I never really failed a class or anything like that. I was a pretty decent student. So when I failed the test, I was kind of a little let down on myself. So I was just scared to fail again. That was a big part of that too.
Yeah. So this is a very common thing that, I've noticed from talking to a lot of students, after they fail a couple times or the first time, there are some students who are just so afraid of failing the exam again that they keep pushing it and
Right.
pushing it. And it's interesting because there are two types of students: those who go like, well, I failed, they feel disappointed at first, but then they quickly get back and be like, okay, I'm just going to keep studying and then eventually I'm going to pass it. And then also there's another group of students who, once they fail the first time, it's just so hard for them. And I think those students, I noticed that they didn't experience much of failure, like you mentioned, in college. They've never failed before. And so once they fail this exam the first time, it's just like almost like it's a shock, right? It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, I've never experienced this before, right? And so it's like your whole confidence is shattered, like everything is shaken up, right? Because you've never experienced it before. So can you walk us a little bit to how did you overcome that? And then you were like, okay, I'm going to face this exam and then just take it again. And then when you took it, were you still afraid of failing when you went in to take it the second time? Were you okay with the fact, like, if I fail again, I'm okay with it? Like, walk us through that a little bit, because I think a lot of people can really relate to this.
Let me think. So what pushed me to kind of get over the fear was, well, I mean, like I said, watching a lot of your videos with other students who passed, that really motivated me. There was also a few other people that I knew that had graduated that I knew from like high school or, from college that were passing. I was like, wow, these people are passing. I need to get my stuff together. And also my dad was a big part in it too. He's a engineer. He has his PE, and we work together. And so he was always constantly like, "Hey, where's your IT? Go study. What are you doing? How come you're not studying? You need to pass this test. Come on, hurry up." So he was really a big part in it. And also my girlfriend always like, "Hey, can I pass your test?" And so, I think just seeing other people pass and just saying, "Hey, I can be like them. I can pass too." So, and then when I took the test, I think I was still nervous. I mean, I think everybody's going to be nervous when they take it. But I did definitely feel more confident. And I think a lot of that was from taking a lot of the practice tests towards the end of my last few weeks of my studying. The practice tests really helped me feel more confident, and it helped me be more calmer in the test, and doing tests when practice tests, timing it and doing it like a real test setting when I was taking the practices really helped when I was actually at the test. So
Okay.
yeah.
And when did you schedule the FE? Did you tell anyone that you were going to take it the second time?
Yeah, I told everybody, and,
Oh,
and
you
they and
did.
they knew that I had been studying. So yeah, my girlfriend was actually studying, had just graduated nursing school. So she was studying for her nursing exam too. So we were studying together. And she actually passed her nursing exam the week before I took mine and passed. So it worked out.
That's awesome. Because so you
Yeah,
guys
so
got to
everybody knew.
celebrate. That's so cool. So
Yeah, that
everybody
was
knew.
yeah, everybody
Um,
knew.
did that cause more like pressure, stress? Did that get in your head?
Um,
Because sometimes that happens.
Slightly, yeah. And then also, Rim, one of the people that works with you, she was always checking up on me on Discord and stuff. So I had her also kind of not pressuring me, but just knowing that she was there and gonna check up on me, check up on my progress, kept me on track too. So
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Okay. All right. So you mentioned practice exams. Let's talk a little bit about that. How many practice exams did you take?
I took I took the Islam 1 and 2 because there's two exams in that
Right.
book. I didn't realize that till I got it, but there's two practice exams in there. And they're really good. Are they a little harder? Maybe. I don't know. I think it's all kind of the same, and it prepares you well. So
Right.
they're a little different, but they're all the concepts are kind of the same in there. So I took the Islam 1 and 2, and then I took your practice exam. Um, and then I also kind of used, I don't know if people do this, I used your quick review kind of as a practice exam as well, in a way. I would do it and time myself and go through the quick review. So I guess you could say I took 4 practical exams if you count the quick review using it as one. So
Wow, that's so cool. So you got the bundle course and the quick review.
yeah, I got everything.
That's awesome.
So
So so I can see when you went in, you were really feeling confident because you pretty much went through all the material at that point.
yeah, yeah. And then the first practical exam, I had a score, and then the second one I did better, and then the third one I did better, and the fourth one I did better. And I was still kind of nervous if I was at that point or not. And Rim was like, you know what, those scores are good. I think you're going to be fine. Just go to the test. And so I showed up and passed. So guess it
That's
worked
great.
out.
Yeah, I feel like you had a really good support system throughout like the whole journey. Like even if your family knew about your exam, this
Yeah.
so there was some sort of a support, and then you had your girlfriend studying together. That was kind of
Mhm.
motivating, right?
Yeah.
And then Wim kept checking on your progress. I think that helps too because when you know somebody is gonna check on your progress, you don't want to tell them, "Oh, I haven't really done much." So it kind of
Yeah.
pushes you, right? So you can give them an
Yeah.
update, right?
Same thing like when you're in school, it's like, oh man, my teachers and my professors are gonna check up on me, so I better do this work or get this project done. So
Right, right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the courses. So how did you hear about us? How did you come across our courses?
no, honestly, I don't remember, but
Remember?
I think it was probably Instagram like ads because I know your phone listens to you, so it probably heard me talking about the exam and then it showed up an ad. So because I sometimes will be talking about something and then I see an ad for that later on Instagram or something. It's kind of creepy, but
It is. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
That
I think it was through Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And then how did it help you pass your FE exam?
Uh, it was a big part in me passing. I don't know what other material I would have used. I would have got all my notes from school and tried to use that. And I know there's a lot of stuff that I would have studied that wasn't on the exam if I did that. So your course was a big help. It's just structured so nice, and the little song in the beginning keeps you uh, focused. So yeah, during my exam, I actually had that song in the back of my head when I would go to the next question.
Really? That's funny. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's see. What were some of the things that you really liked about our courses? Some features.
um, well, I like how the questions are separated in 2 videos.
Mm.
So, you watch the first video and you kind of give little tips and hints and introduce the problem. And then you say, okay, try the problem. And then if you really can't do it, then move on, or if you finish it, move on and then try to see if you got it right. So what I would do, I would click the first video and then I wouldn't even let you talk yet. I just get the problem open and I try to read it first. and say, try to understand, do I understand what's going on? Do I understand what it's asking? And then if I knew it, then I'd try to work it out if I think I could work it out. And then if I didn't, then I'd say, okay, let me listen to her and see what her hints are and stuff. And then I'd look at your hints and then I'd say, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Or else some of them I had no idea, right?
Yeah.
So then I just look at the solution and try to work through it. So
Okay,
yeah, I
gotcha.
think that structure is really nice. That kind of helps. So
Okay. And then what other study habits or tips that you found really helpful?
um so in the beginning I got overwhelmed with all the, because when you get the course, you kind of go on the side and do all those drop downs, and there's a bunch of questions and a bunch of sections. So I got a little overwhelmed in the beginning. I think that's kind of why I stopped when I first started. But the second time around, when I started in October again, I got I set a time frame for myself, which was I think like about 5 months, right around there. And then I got all those days and all the questions and divided all the questions by the days. So I'm like, okay, I need to do this many questions a day to finish in my time I allotted for myself. And separating it like that and taking it one day at a time really helped a lot from being overwhelmed. And just it just helped me doing that. So
Yeah, so you pretty much created like a study plan, right?
yeah.
And then that kind of helped you um like stay consistent. And then also I really liked how you were like, take it one step at a time. Because a lot of times if you look at just the whole material, you could totally get overwhelmed. Because like I mean there are 14 different subjects in the FE
Mhm.
single, right? And each subject there's like so much more subtopics that you have to know and learn. And so
Right.
it's overwhelming exam. And so but something that it's very important for the students to remember is that I love what you did really, and that's what I really try to tell you guys as well, is have a study plan and then have a plan of what you're going to study every day and just focus on
Mhm.
that. Don't focus on the big picture, because that's really you're gonna lose motivation so quickly. Because if you
Mhm.
just start in math and then you still have 13 more subjects to go through and you keep reminding yourself of that every day, you're not going to want to show up to study
Yeah.
because you're so far away from your goal. So it's very
Right.
that so I really like that tip where it's like put a study plan, put what I'm going to do every day, plan it out, and then see how much time it will take you to cover all of that material.
Mhm.
Did you study for 4 months? Did that 5 months, did that study plan work out at the end, or did you have to
Yeah,
adjust it?
it definitely got adjusted. Life happens. So you miss days, or maybe you get sick, or something happens, or I had to go out of town for work for like a few days, so that kind of messed me up. But for the most part, it stayed, but it got adjusted a little bit. And, if you take it one day at a time, it works out. So, sometimes if, like I say, I had something planned for like a Saturday, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do Saturday's problem today. I'll do double today. And maybe that works out, maybe it doesn't. That way I don't feel so guilty about not studying on Saturday or something. So, it's, staying consistent and just moving it around, if you have to, because you shouldn't stop your life. You have to live your life at the same time, still stay consistent and take it a day at a time, but still keep that end goal at the back of your head still. So
That's true. Do you remember how many hours did you study during the week and the weekend?
during the week, it was about 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. I would get off work around 5, come home, eat, rest a little bit, and then I start around 7:30 and go till like 10:30, 11:30 sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
And I stayed consistent with that when I started in October. Aside from the days, some stuff happened, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What about the weekend? Did you study during
And
the weekend?
then the weekends probably the same amount, um,
Okay.
unless I didn't study at all. If I, moved the extra on the weekdays or something like that. So
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what's that? 4 hours. So would you say like on average 4 hours a day? So four
Yeah,
times seven,
three
seven
to
days.
four. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's awesome. I'm
But
really
my girlfriend was right there with me studying too, so we kept each other kind
yeah.
of sane.
Yeah, that helps to have a study buddy, right? Like it's like in college. I don't know if you've studied with friends and stuff, but that always like helps a lot when you have somebody right there next to you also studying.
Yeah, maybe not doing the exact same thing, but at least having somebody there with you kind of helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And then
Okay.
even with your videos, it kind of feels like you're there with us too, being a study buddy, going through the problems with us. So
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So now let's see. I'm actually curious because I know you graduated from California, one of the California state universities. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
California.
And then because I graduated from Cal State Northridge,
Hmm.
and there were some subjects that I didn't study in college that
Right.
are on the FE. So I wonder if that was the same thing for you, or did you guys cover
Um,
everything?
I didn't, off the top of my head, we didn't cover a lot of construction stuff.
Okay.
So, um, but for the most part, I think it was all there. Um, but of course, you don't cover everything or you forget, and some of the tiny little details, aren't covered. But I think just the construction for
Okay.
me
All
that I
right.
didn't go in school.
Did you feel like those classes helped you a little bit with your FE? Give you the
Uh,
foundation or
yeah, they definitely did. Yeah, when I started studying again, I was like, okay, yeah, I remember this. I
mm,
remember this,
yeah.
but it's been so, you know, long that you just forget things. And but I think it's there still. You just gotta trigger it again and get in the zone of studying, and it'll come back. So
Yeah, that's true. You just gotta dig deep to find it.
yeah, it's there.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Let's talk about the day of your FE exam. So you went in still scared a little bit to fail, but you felt overall confident? Is that
um,
how did you feel?
I was definitely still nervous, but I did feel a little more confident when I finished the test. I was a little 50-50 on it. I was like,
Mm,
man, there was like the very first question I didn't know how to do. I was like, what the heck is this? I
mm,
was like, I never even seen this. What is this? So I got a little nervous, but I remembered what you guys told me. Just
yeah.
skip, skip and move on. Go to the next one. And I did that, and it kind of calmed me down doing all the easy ones first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what really helped was I did all the conceptual questions first, and then I went through as I was going through looking for the conceptual ones. I was flagging the kind of easy ones I know I could do, and then I went and did those, all the easy calculation ones, and then I went back and did the ones I knew how to do, but were going to take a little more time. And then at the end,
Mm,
I was left over with the ones I had no clue what to
mm.
do. So that
Okay.
helped a lot.
Okay.
So I was nervous for sure. And even after I was nervous, so when I got my results, I was surprised, but then at the same time, I was like, well, all this hard work paid off, so maybe I do deserve to pass. So
Yeah. So you took the FE exam in 2021, the first time you took it, and then you took it again in 2023. Did you notice any difference between the questions, maybe the difficulty of the exam?
um well, I would say the first time felt more harder, but maybe that's because I didn't study that much. All I studied was the NCES practice exam. So, but I feel like it was probably the same. I know I've heard that there's a little more conceptual questions, um, and those can be kind of hard because it's a yes or no and or right good a right or wrong answer, and all of them look right, and you don't really study that much stuff like that, conceptual questions like that. So, and I know you just released the conceptual
Yep.
questions practice exam, so I know that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know if you miss a lot of those conceptual questions, that can really hurt you. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I think there's like an average of 30 to 40 conceptual questions on your exam. Would you say that's
mhm.
how many you got? Between 30 to 40?
um, maybe like around 30. Yeah,
Yeah.
30.
Right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a few. Yeah.
And like you said, like if you don't get those questions, plus you're gonna miss some of the practical hard questions because
Mhm.
there's no way you're gonna know all of them. That
Right.
could really hurt you to not pass your FE exam for sure. And yeah, so we kept hearing students getting more and more conceptual questions, and then like you said, like it's hard to study for those. It's like yeah, I know the concepts, but it's like they could ask you really completely different conceptual question where you're like
Mhm.
is. Some of them are more related to the field too. You have to be working in that specific field, like
Mhm.
transportation or structures, and you have to have like some sort of experience, right, to be able to answer that question. And so we decided to, you know what, let's launch 110 conceptual questions with like in-depth solutions, and
Mhm.
then hopefully that can really give our students that boost of confidence and then be able to tackle the FE exam. But yeah, um, how did you manage your time during the exam?
Um, think well, I think I did it. I forget the exact time that Pranita told me to do. She called me before my exam and kind of gave me some tips, and she said, "Okay, you need to be done with the morning section at this time. So make sure you're done at this time so that you have enough time for the afternoon section." And I think it was a little less time in the morning and a little more time in the afternoon because the afternoon questions are typically a little more difficult. So it was definitely maybe like a half and half, maybe less towards the morning. So, and I went maybe like 5 or 10 minutes over
Hmm.
in the morning than I should have, but it was kind of, it all worked out. That didn't matter too much, I guess. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I did half and half and skip questions. And I think that was the key. Because the first time I took it, I ran out of time. I had
Oh,
like about 20 questions left because the
wow.
first time I was going each question trying to answer them, and
Mm.
I was like, oh, I can do this one, I can do it, I can do it. And before you know it, I spent like 10, 15 minutes on this one problem.
Oh, wow.
So just wasting time. So I
Right.
definitely recommend skipping questions, moving on, going back to them, get all the ones right you can because you want to answer the most right you can, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have a strategy, right? Because it's not about getting every question right. It's about just passing the exam. And so
yeah,
you have to make sure you have, a good strategy for that. Okay, awesome. So you took your FE, you left, you felt 50-50. I think most people feel that way.
yeah.
I felt like that too. I was like, I have no idea. I could either
Like, I don't
either
know.
fail or pass. I just don't know. Um,
Mhm.
Now you got the results. How did you feel? How did you feel then when you were like, I passed my FE? How was that feeling?
When I opened it, I was like actually half asleep. I think they they sent it at like 7:30 in the morning, and I was still in bed, about to get up, and I got the email. I was like, oh man, I got the email. Should I open it? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna open it. So I opened it, and I had my eyes half open. And I saw the green pass. I was like, oh my gosh, no way. It's like I really passed, and I messaged my girlfriend right away. I was like, I sent her a screenshot. I passed. I passed. She's like, "Oh my gosh, no way!" So it was definitely exciting and a good start to my day that day.
Yeah,
And
that
then when I went to work, I showed my dad. I was like, "Dad, look, I passed, I passed."
that's awesome. Oh, how did your dad feel when you told him?
He was like, "Good job," but no, he was happy. He's like,
Yeah,
"About time."
right. Yeah,
Now
yeah.
study for the PE.
Right, now let's move on. Wow,
Yeah,
he's already planning the next step. Like, okay, you
yeah,
got your FE. It's like, oh, well, let me just enjoy the FE first.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Does your dad has PE in civil? He
Yeah,
does.
he's a PE
Oh, he does.
civil. Yeah,
That's cool. He can maybe help you with your PE as well when you're ready for that.
yeah. Well, he's been while. So he's all that gone. He has all his books though. He goes, all my books and all the stuff I used
Oh,
to study is over there. So when you need it, look through it. So
oh,
yeah.
that's cool. Did he ever take the FE?
Yeah, he had to take
Did?
the EIT. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because
But he when
before
he took it, it was all on paper and
paper.
pencil. Yeah. In a big room with like 100 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So it's
okay.
different now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the PE now is different, right? Now the PE is also computer based, and then
Hmm.
it's not open book, it's closed book. You get so many manuals and reference handbook. So it's also changing as well. Okay, all right, awesome. And how did passing the FE affected your life?
It definitely made me feel more confident working. So, because when in my job, I deal with a lot of other professionals, engineers, and some of them have EIT, some of them have their PEs, and or I meet with city personnel, other engineers that work for the city or planners or building plan checkers, and just knowing that I at least have my EIT, helps me feel a little more confident in conversation and stuff. Because before I didn't have my anything really, I just had my degree, and some people can be kind of well, he doesn't have anything. Why am I going to listen to him? He doesn't know nothing. So at least having the EIT helps me feel a little more confident, and then people knowing that I've had my EIT and I'm working towards getting my PE and stuff, I think it helps a lot. It makes me feel more confident.
Yeah, for sure. I can totally see that. When are you planning to take your PE? I'm gonna do what your dad did.
So yeah, I haven't started studying yet, but there was a few things that I was putting off in life that I wanted to do, but I wanted to pass my EAT first. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna start studying. But for sure this year, probably the end of summer, I'll probably start.
Hmm,
So
awesome.
and then, yeah,
That's great.
I
Okay.
don't know how long it'll take,
Yeah.
but, but
I
yeah, I
mean,
don't even know
you
where to
have
start.
you have those study habits now, right? It's the same exact thing how you approach the FE. I would approach the PE, right? Get a
Mhm.
good course, and we can talk more about that if you like. And have a study plan like you created for the FE, and then and just study. And something I noticed, you might study less for your PE than you did for the FE. So just keep that in mind, because like the FE is very general, whereas the PE is very specific based on your discipline,
Mhm.
especially the afternoon section, right? Or they call it the depth. So the depth is going to be based on your discipline. And so that might make it slightly easier. From what I heard from our students who got both their FE and their PE, it was easier, the PE, and then also it took them less time and they passed it on their first try. So
Mm.
just going positive, right? Like,
Okay.
now, especially because you just passed your FE, and it seems like you studied a lot. You went through so much material, the bundle plus the quick review. You've done so many practice exams. You have a really good foundation in engineering, and so all these concepts, everything that you've learned, it's really going to help you to for the PE, and it's going to be much easier because you already have a lot of the foundation already from the FE. So
Mhm.
I think you're going to do great. I've seen it with so many of our students. They would fail the FE so many times, and then they get our course, they pass the FE, and then literally 4 months, 5 months, even once, 2 months, they would email us that they passed their PE. So
Yeah, I've
it's
seen some of the
yeah,
posts like that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
yeah, so I'm sure you're gonna do great. All right,
Hopefully.
and I have one last question for you. Um, so if a student comes up to you and asks you to list 3 things that really helps you pass your FE exam, what would you say to them?
um, I would say do a schedule and stick to that schedule. Um, buy your course. That's a big one.
Yep.
Buy your course. And I would say don't sacrifice life, your day-to-day life, but still, you know, study, I guess, have that end goal but, you know, still make room for fun at times.
How did you actually? I'm going to ask you another question because I think that you brought it up a couple times, and now I'm curious. How did you have that nice balance in life, and what kind of fun things that you did that helped you recharge to get back to studying?
Um, just going to the store with my girlfriend or playing video games. I'd take a break and play some video games sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of it, really.
Okay, yeah, just taking some time for yourself and just
Yeah, yeah, because you can get burnt out
right,
real easy.
right.
So
Okay, awesome. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your story with us. I'm sure it's gonna help and inspire a lot of students. So thank you for taking the time and doing this with me.
yeah, thank you.